Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to the February 2016 School Garden webinar. Today we're going to be talking about Slow Food USA's national partnership with Chipotle and how you can utilize Chipotle resources to benefit your school garden program. So today we have our guest presenter joining us, Jamie Waite, who is a marketing strategist for Chipotle based out of Phoenix. And before we get into that, I'm just going to go over some quick housekeeping. I've muted everyone except the presenters to reduce background noise. And if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, please use the chat function in the webinar control panel on your screen. You can visit our website, which is listed there. And then if you'd like to share this webinar with others, it is being recorded and will become available on our website. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Jamie and let my co-director, Andrew Nowak, talk to Jamie about what resources are available through Chipotle.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Jamie, are you online with us now?
I am here.
Oh, very good. All right. Well, welcome to our monthly webinar series for the Slow Food School Garden Program. I am Andrew Nowak, one of the co-directors of the program with Lauren, and we are thrilled to have Jamie with us today on the webinar to talk about this partnership that we have with Chipotle and how school gardens can benefit from that. A little background about the partnership. This came out of a long-term relationship that we've had here in Denver through the Slow Food Denver chapter with the local Chipotle marketing team here in Denver, Colorado. For the past 6 or 7 years, we've gotten a tremendous amount of support from the local Chipotle team supporting our school gardens, events, the ability to use their restaurants for fundraisers and burrito donations. And it's been a very positive relationship here in Denver. And so a couple years ago, we looked at making that relationship a national relationship between our two organizations. And we launched this in the summer of 2014, and we've been going strong since. So Chipotle has been a big supporter of our program. We received grant money to have this team, Lauren and myself, and all the resources that we bring to school gardens is the direct result of the funding from Chipotle. But what we want to talk about today, is the relationship with Chipotle restaurants and how school gardens can tap into the wonderful resources that we can get from the restaurants and their marketing team. So Jamie, how about open it up?
I'm going to pause Andy for 1 second here. It looks like some folks are having some issues with the volume and not being able to hear the webinar. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and unmute everyone and then mute you again and see if that helps. So if we could just hold on 1 second. Okay, if you're still having issues with the volume, it would be super if you could send me a private message in the chat function. That would be great. And otherwise, I will let Andy and Jamie continue.
All right, Jamie, are you back on?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. All right,
okay, I'm here.
So, Jamie, tell us a little bit about your position as a marketing strategist for Chipotle and what your day looks like in Phoenix.
Oh, goodness. What my day looks like is a challenge, but I can tell you a little bit about what we do to support Chipotle. There's a team, as Andy noted here, in 26 of our major markets of Chipotle, and our role really is to support our restaurants in building their sales and their marketing through fundraisers, donations, and some other things that they have in their toolbox, and really speaking to them on customer service and just making sure that all of our customers are getting an amazing experience in our restaurant. The other half of our role is finding ways in the community to support like-minded organizations, and then also finding some fun events to partner with to really get the Chipotle name out there. while many people might recognize us as a brand, they might not really understand what Chipotle is and what we stand for, and our Food with Integrity mission, which is so integral to everything we do at Chipotle. So it's really mine and my team's job to spread that message out to the community. A day for me today, as an example, I've been working out of my house and out of a coffee shop on multiple conference calls, and now this awesome webinar. And tomorrow I'm going to be in restaurants all day, surprising one of our restaurant managers who just won an award, and just visiting some others to make sure that things are still going well. So, like I said, days vary here at Chipotle.
Excellent. Well, it does sound like a very busy day, but very meaningful work. What I want to stress out of this slide to everybody that's listening is that the role of the MS in this program is to help us connect with the restaurant. So when Slow Food USA receives a request from a school garden for some resources, and we're going to go through these resources here shortly, after we've gone over the application to make sure everything's in place, I then send it on to the appropriate Chipotle MS in that community to then be processed at the restaurants, or if something needs to be mailed, that MS will take care of the mailing. So the relationship between our two organizations is between my office and the various MSs around the country. And you'll often see me in the email say Chipotle MS. So now you know who I'm referring to.
It's me, or one of my counterparts.
Exactly. So what we want to talk about today, Jamie, is all the wonderful opportunities that Chipotle has presented to our school gardens as far to support their efforts in the gardens. And before we get to the first one, the in-store fundraisers, do you have anything you want to share with us about the general strategy that Chipotle has about supporting different kinds of community efforts through their restaurants?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're really looking to do is give back even more to the community. And what I hope that you all can take away from this presentation is to recognize when there's an awesome opportunity to bring Chipotle in as a partner. So, you know, when you're in your slow food meetings and you're strategizing for different things, keeping Chipotle in your mind and keeping all these amazing resources that we have available, keep them in your mind, because if you guys aren't thinking about us and using us, then unfortunately these resources may not get used, and we definitely want to use them. So please think of us, because we absolutely want to support local food groups in our communities, agricultural groups, and then of course a lot of schools and youth teams. The schools and youth teams we support plenty of. We want to support more of our school gardens. So please think of these resources in your meetings. And now we can kind of jump into what those resources are.
Exactly. And what I want to stress from the slow food standpoint is that our partnership with Chipotle is to support school gardens. I get a few requests to support a community garden or a farm project, or even a different project within the school itself. Our working relationship with Chipotle is strictly around school gardens. If I see a request for something outside of school gardens, and I think there's good value to it, I will pass it on to the MS, and they can make their own choice locally if that fits into their fundraising plans. But I ask that, you know, most of you on this webinar are school garden leaders, so we really shouldn't have any problems. But we're going to keep the request limited to school gardens and the related activities around school gardens. So I often call what we can tap into Chipotle as the 5 Chipotle resources. And you know, resources is something that we talk about in the school garden world, and Jamie's marketing world, they may be referred to something else. But on top of that list is the ability to go into the restaurants to do a fundraiser. Jamie, can you give us kind of a general description of what an in-store fundraiser looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Chipotle, we give 50% of the sales back to the organization. That's huge. A lot of other fast food type organizations give like 10 to 15%. So you can imagine that 50% of Chipotle, which also has a higher price point than some of those other fast food places, can raise a lot of money for your garden really quickly. The way it works is you just complete the form that will go to Andy and his team, and then as he mentioned, he'll reach out to the local MS. What we do from there is coordinate with that local restaurant, and based on the timing, we create this awesome flyer for you. It gets emailed right to Andy or to you, depending on the contact information we're given, and then you can use this to promote on social media, Facebook, Instagram. You can print it and have it hung up at the school, send it home with kids, all that type of stuff. When people come into the fundraiser, all they need to do is mention the fundraiser. If they have the flyer, great. If they show it on their phone, great. If they mention it just by saying the word, "I'm here for the fundraiser," that works too. But they do have to say that they're here for the fundraiser. People that are there just because they came to Chipotle anyways for dinner, they don't get counted towards the fundraiser. And we don't allow people to promote on site. So if that same guy is coming for his normal burrito on a Tuesday, we don't want people, asking him like, "Hey, say you're with the fundraiser." We want you guys to do a lot of the promoting ahead of time and drive a lot of people into the restaurant, and we're going to give you a half of every single purchase that comes in as a result of that. This one is the longest lead time, so just kind of keep that in mind. This is a great one if you're at meetings and you're thinking that we're going to have a garden day in a couple months and we need supplies like shovels and everything else that you guys need that costs money. Fundraisers are an awesome opportunity. You can get the check as quickly as 2 weeks after the fundraiser, as long as you complete the necessary paperwork, which is as simple as an email the very next day.
Very good.
Andy,
Yeah,
is that enough?
I think that's great. The second to last bullet point there is that Slow Food USA, with support of Chipotle, has developed a fact sheet that gives a lot of helpful hints on how to have a successful fundraiser. Based on Jamie's description, it's obvious that the more families that are driven to the restaurant during that 4-hour window, the more fundraising that will be generated.
And in addition to that fact sheet for success, one of our interns, Sally, who has joined us for the webinar as well, created an awesome how-to guide. So these two documents really piggyback each other, and it gives tips for how to really successfully leverage social media and different school communication channels to really maximize the number of people that attend your fundraiser and therefore increase the amount of money you're able to raise for your school garden. So we are happy to share those with you to make sure your fundraiser is as successful as possible.
And it's really important to respect the 8-week minimum time in advance to plan this, because there is a fair amount of planning that goes into these fundraisers. Once it gets approved and gets on the restaurant schedule, the flyer comes out. The school is expected to share this through all their different media channels. You can print off hard copies and share it with the kids to take home. You can go through your email list. But it is important to respect that 8 weeks. If we get a request for a fundraiser under 8 weeks, we're going to have to send it back to you and ask you to pick a new date. All right. Anything else on the fundraiser, Jamie? What have you seen schools raise, Jamie, as far as funds? If you have a range in your mind.
You know what? The average, we say it's successful if we donate around $500 to the organization, so that would mean about $1,000 in sales. I've seen anywhere from, we've had really small fundraisers where we'll still write a check for like $80, and I've seen them where we write checks for $2,500. It really runs the gamut, and it's all about the promotion that you do ahead of time. It absolutely is.
Yeah. And if you're a Slow Food chapter leader out there on the webinar, this is a great opportunity for the Slow Food chapter to support their schools within the garden programs. Mm-hmm. And the chapter can also use their social media outlets to push for people to join at the event on the night of the fundraiser. I know in your market, Jamie, the Prescott chapter is doing a really good job of supporting these fundraisers up in Prescott, Arizona.
Yep, I've seen some great numbers out of that one.
Yes. All right. So moving on to the next type of a resource to Chipotle is the great burrito donations that we can get for different gatherings. Jamie, tell us a little bit about these.
Yeah, so this is a great opportunity, if you're having a garden day, that you can feed all of your volunteers. We will, up to 50 burritos. If you have something really special going on, you can reach out to Andy and see if there's an option to go higher than that, but we say around 50 is great. We do ask that you pick up the burritos from whichever Chipotle is going to be the best location for you. And that's really all there is to this. You get free food to feed all your volunteers, and I think most people walk away really happy. And then we do love it when we get to see these great pictures of kids eating their Chipotle, or, your teachers too. It's pretty much as easy as it seems. You send in, your order. The order sheet asks for, the types of burritos, and we kind of make them pretty standard with rice and salsa and cheese. We can make them vegan if needed, though. And then, you just place the order with us, pick it up, no payment needed, and you bring it to your event.
Yeah, this has been a very popular item with the schools. We all know people turn out for work days if they know they're going to get fed, or we know that teachers will come to our workshop if we can offer them dinner if this is an after-school workshop. So any sort of event that's attached to a school garden project, like work days, workshops, even pre-season planning meetings, if you're meeting with the PTO to talk about how the school garden program is going to be run this year, you should consider ordering burritos for that meeting, and people will certainly show up and leave happy if they've been fed. We are asking for 5 weeks minimum advance notice for this fundraiser, as is for the rest of the fundraisers. Generally, there's a few emails that go back and forth between my office and the schools just to make sure everything is in order. Chipotle is asking us for a 4-week minimum advance, so we've added an extra week on here so that we can make sure we can get all the paperwork done in time to submit the request to the Chipotle MS in your community. So you'll see this on the application form that we'll show you at the end of the webinar. So moving on to the Chipotle currency. This is another hugely popular offer from Chipotle. Jamie, tell us a little bit about the currency.
Yeah, so currency is our fancy word for coupons. Don't get too confused. That's all it means. And like it says here, it's a great way to say thank you. If you have a way bigger group than maybe that 50 for a work day, instead of feeding them on site, maybe you can send them home with a card for a free burrito, or it's really free entree. They can get whatever they want. And that way, people can go home, they can shower up, and they can go get Chipotle and get whatever they want for the burrito. Is pretty standard. This is good for really any idea that you guys have to use these as a way to, encourage people to support your garden. We're pretty much game for. It's just kind of depending on what you need it for, you just provide that description. And then depending on that, it's kind of up to us to decide what the right value is. Whether it's a buy one, get one free, if it's going to be a free burrito card. As pictured here, we also have free kids meal cards. So depending on the event, we would determine what the best option is, and we can get those out to you. And as Andy he added the 5 weeks. I was wondering about that, Andy. You added in an extra week. I like that idea.
Well, we have found on our end that a lot of schools push the 4 weeks, but by the time we email back and forth, we're under the 4 weeks, and there have been a few times we've lost out on the opportunity to make the order. So Slow Foods added that 5th week, and I think that's going to really help the schools get what they're asking for.
Absolutely, I love that.
So as Jamie said, the Chipotle MS in your community will actually pick out the currency that will be shipped out. So there's not the opportunity to request a specific kind of currency, but I can tell you that they've been very, very generous in the types of currency that are shared with school gardens. So whatever comes through the mail, you'll be very happy to share that with your garden leaders or your volunteers or teachers. We don't really have a limit on what you can order for currency. I'm asking you to respect the great contributions that Chipotle is offering, and don't get too greedy. As Jamie said, if you've got more than 50 people, we can order more than 50 cards. Just make sure you're ordering just enough for the people that you are hosting for that event, And we can look at, if you're doing another event later in the year and it's a new group of people, we can look at a second order of currency. And we'll talk a little bit at the end of the webinar about how often you can tap into these resources through Chipotle. So we're and another way we've used these currencies is if you're holding a conference. If you're hosting a school garden conference in your area, Chipotle has been very, very generous in providing large amounts of currency so that everybody who's attending the conference is going home with a free burrito in their pocket or in their gift bag from the conference. I just came back from a conference in Sacramento where we handed out over 250 currency cards to the participants. So that was a very generous give by Chipotle.
And in addition to using the currency card at conferences, different school garden gatherings have also utilized the food donation from Chipotle. So it's a great way to be able to feed your attendees if you're running a school garden conference on a tight budget.
All right, so now we're going to get into two pieces of educational materials. We've put them on two different slides. We're going to start with Grow books. Jamie, we just learned today that Grow books are going to continue in circulation for us.
Yeah,
right?
so they were out for a little while because they actually come with a packet of tomato seeds in there, and the tomato seeds that we had expired, and so we had to get some new ones created or packaged for us, and now they are ready to go again. So that's really exciting. I've been told they'll be back ready for order later this week. So for those of you who may have requested it the last month or so, we'll be getting those orders up and ready for you, and then for the rest of you, come on and bring it. We've got them ready now. These are really great activity books. They're full of pages for coloring and different fun facts about planting seeds and just really fun stuff about growing your own food.
Yeah, kids love these. There's probably about 20 pages in there, so they really keeps the kids active for a while. Great for after-school programs, for a garden class. Perhaps for the last 15 minutes, a teacher needs to get the kids refocused and let them work in their Grow book. We recommend you order one per child in your class, so that each child has their own book that they can take home. They do come with seeds. The ones in the past have come with a recipe card. Very easy to get. These will come in through the mail in most cases. In some of our markets, the Slow Food chapter may help deliver them to your school. It all depends on the activity level of our chapters and of the ordering there in that community. So, but for the most part, these will come delivered to your school. Again, asking for about a 5-week advance notice to get to order these through the system. Paired with the Grow books are these nifty little Grow kits. And Jamie, these have gone through several changes over the years, but these are really convenient for kids to learn about planting seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're trying to show it for size. I don't know.
Scale. Yeah, I'm showing scale there. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's a cup measurer. That's what it is.
Oh, it's a cup measure. Okay, because I was going to say that looks awfully big because it's really a small little thing.
Yeah.
I would say that it's a really great thing, like Andy was saying. Kids love these. It's the little planter is probably the size of about a shot glass, I would say. It comes packaged in this little cute Chipotle logo and has some directions on there. And then inside of the planter, which is biodegradable, is a little seed disc or soil disc, that you partner it with the seeds that come in your Grow book and just add some water to the soil disc. Plant your seeds in there, and the kids can at least try to grow a tomato plant. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've had very good success with these. I think Lauren, in fact, started a tomato plant in one that ended up in my garden and produced a whole bunch of tomatoes. So they're meant to get the seed started. The plants do need to be transplanted into a larger pot by the time they've got their third or fourth set of leaves. But it's a great way to get started. And for a whole classroom of these, they don't take up a lot of space on a windowsill or a light table, so they're really a nice size. The kids are fascinated by the soil discs. I mean, they literally expand right in front of them as you add water, and provides a really good medium for the seeds to grow. We find that if you pair a grow kit with a grow book, it's a really great educational opportunity for the kids. There's easily several lesson plans that can come out of this and keep kids busy with their garden activities. So consider ordering these. Again, we ask for at least 5 weeks advance notice to place the order, and these will come through the mail or delivered by a local slow food representative in your community. So what we want to do now is move on to how to order these things. The next slide has a little bit about the process. On the bottom of the slide is the link to the website from the Slow Food USA main website to access the description of these resources. There's 2 pages of descriptions, and then at the bottom is a link to the Google form in which you fill in the information for these to place your orders. So it's a very easy process. The form is very easy to fill out, mostly asking for contact information, dates, and as the first bullet point indicates, we do ask that you supply a description of your event that these resources are going to be used for. So if you're going to do a fundraiser, give us 2, 3, 4 sentences about how is the money going to be used that comes from the fundraiser. How is this going to support your school garden program? If you're asking for burritos, well, who are you feeding, and what are they doing at your school as part of this event? Please be pretty descriptive, because we use these descriptions as a good gauge of the activity, and we like to share out these descriptions and show all the different ways that these wonderful resources are being used through school gardens. So, if you only give me 5 words, I'm going to return your application and ask for more. And it's not hard to fill that out. Once you fill out the Google form, all you do is hit send, and that comes to my office, and we will review your application, make sure all the information is there that's necessary, and if everything looks good, I'll send you back a confirmation that we got your request and that it's being processed. We send the request off to the Chipotle MS in your community, and it usually takes, Jamie, how long does it take for you guys to process these applications?
Probably just a couple days to review it, and then depending if we need to reach out to a store, if it's a donation or fundraiser, it could take another day or 2 for them to get back to us. So, a week at the most, but sometimes as quickly as a day.
Yeah. And we got to remember that we're not the only ones requesting these resources from Chipotle. So they get other requests for burrito donations and fundraisers, and it all needs to fit onto the calendar for that given store. So there are cases where we may have to change the dates a little bit or look at some alternatives, but for the most part, these applications go through with no hitches and everything gets approved. What kind of responses do they get from you, Jamie, so they know that they've been approved? How does that look?
Sure. So I just wanted to add on a little bit to that. If you follow the timelines that are given in this presentation and on the forms, most likely is we're going to be able to fulfill your request. The times we have to say no are typically when they're coming in too late. On occasion, there may be a fundraiser on the same day if you're providing it 8 weeks in advance, but we'll easily be able to find another day that will work instead. It's just when the things are too short notice is when we get kind of stuck and we can't take action. So just wanted to add that in. But as far as what you can expect to receive, the fundraiser, once you, Andy, let me ask you actually a quick question on the fundraiser, because I haven't done one recently. Are you the one submitting the tax ID for them, or are we putting it to them?
That's usually in a follow-up email. So, because on the current application form, there is not a spot for the tax ID number anymore. So that's usually a follow-up email from you guys.
To their contact email, though, correct?
Yes, to their contact, right.
Okay. Perfect. So what will happen is once Andy has sent over the information to me, I'm just going to use myself as an example, and I have then confirmed with the restaurant that, yep, they can host it on this day, what we do is we go ahead and enter it into our system. Our system then generates an email that gets sent to you. At that point, you have 4 days to kind of open that email, click on the link, and submit your tax ID number. So as soon as you get that email, I recommend, opening it and starting the process. Once we've received your tax ID number, it automatically goes through like an approval system with the government or whoever to make sure it's valid. It gets approved, and from there you'll automatically receive another email that says, congratulations, your fundraiser has been approved, and attached to that email will be all of your flyers. You get two different emails, or two different flyers, different sizes. So that's how the fundraiser will work. From there, you'll get a reminder as your fundraiser is nearing, and then after the fundraiser, you'll get an email saying how much money was raised. And like I mentioned, there is a quick thing that you need to complete to then go ahead and get the check processed and sent out to you. So it can happen very quickly as long as you're paying attention to the emails. Everything should go through.
All right. And then for the burritos, it's slightly different, and there is an automated email that comes from you all on the burritos.
Yep. So the burritos is similar but different in that we get that information, we confirm again directly with the restaurant that they can do the donation, and then we put it on our other system. From there, you will get a confirmation email confirming like the restaurant, the location, the pickup, and all that. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to say that it is a donation, so on those emails, it does tell you what the total is. However, our restaurants know that it's supposed to be a donation, and I've never run into an issue where somebody ended up paying by accident. But just don't be alarmed if you see that email and you see a total at the bottom for a few $100s, because 50 burritos adds up. But our teams know how to take care of it in the restaurant, and you should never run into a problem with that.
Yeah, that's good to point out. That's caused a little confusion from our end, but
yeah.
Once everyone understands it's just an internal document that confirms your donation, then it looks good. So I think Lauren's going to go live now on the webinar and actually show you on the website where all this information lies.
Cool. Yeah, so if you click on the link at the bottom of this PowerPoint, I'll just bring you to our website. Let's see. Okay, hold on 1 second. So our website is just gardens.slowfoodusa.org. And if you're on the home page here, look at the top menu. And if you go to resources and drop down, it's all the way at the bottom, Chipotle Resources for School Garden Programs. This will bring you to the page that describes all of these resources that Andy and Jamie were talking about, the fundraisers, burrito donations, currency, books, and kits. And then if you click on the link down here, the online application, it will open up a Google form where then it'll ask you to fill in information like this. And you can scroll down, fill in all of these mandatory fields, and then the local slow food chapter is optional. If you don't know it, you can leave it blank. And then all of the different resources, the fundraiser, the food donation, have their own subheadings where you can fill in specific information like date of pickup, pickup time, things like that. And then it says unavailable until further notice for books and kits, but later this week that will change. So then you just fill out this form based on which resources you want to apply for, one or many, and then you submit your form, and that's it. It's pretty easy.
Right. So as Lauren and Jamie have pointed out, the Grow books and Grow kits will be available. So we're going to change that message on the website and go ahead and start ordering those if that's what you're interested in, and we'll get that processed. Let's see. Jamie, did you notice anything else on that process that you wanted to highlight? I think it's pretty smooth. We get numbers of requests a day, so it's a pretty busy process for us here at this end. But I think for most people, it's been a pretty easy process for them to order.
Yeah, I love that you guys created that form. I know we had a couple iterations over the last year as this program got started, and I think that form is an amazing way for school gardens to be able to tap into all of our resources. I would say that, after this amazing webinar, I would recommend that you guys kind of, if you can, strategize and see how can we use Chipotle, and then submit that application and submit everything that you want to do in one form. That way we can kind of see a bigger picture of what your program looks like and determine the best ways to support and not just get things, 1 week here and 1 week there.
All right. So I think we have a small list of some questions from the chat. I think Lauren will lead us through.
Yeah, so we've had a few questions come in the chat function, so I'm just going to go in order and see if we can get some answers for you all. Let's see. We had a question come in from Marie. How do we find out who our regional marketing strategist is? We are in Memphis, Tennessee.
So, Marie, if you're going to order any of these resources through Slow Food, we just ask that you submit the form as we just showed it to you, and we'll make that connection to the MS in your area. We were given, I have a spreadsheet of all the MSs in the areas that they cover. Jamie, is there any public spot that people can look up their MS, or how do you handle requests like that?
No, I think connecting through you, Andy, is perfect. If you're looking to create, a more personal relationship with that person that's in your market, I think kind of providing some details to Andy on what you're looking for beyond what, we're providing through the Slow Food partnership would give us a good idea of what else there might be out there. But if it's just for the resources that we're providing this way, then submitting the form through Andy is by far the best option.
Yeah, if you've got an event that lies a little bit outside of the school garden work that we support, feel free to contact us, and we will do our best to pass you on to the MS in your community with an introduction so that they know where it's all coming from.
Okay, great. We had a question from Stacy. Hi, Stacy. She's joining us from the National Farm to School Network. We appreciate you being on the call. Stacy is asking, do the projects have to be affiliated with a local slow food chapter to participate or qualify for these resources?
No, in fact, they don't. Our partnership with Chipotle opens this up to any school garden program in the country. We, in the process of processing your request, if you're not attached to a slow food chapter, we will share with you links and information on how you can learn more about slow food, our website, our resources, and even on the Slow Food USA website is a map and a listing of all the slow food chapters, so that you can look up the slow food chapter in your area. So you don't have to be affiliated with Slow Food to tap into these resources, but we hope that you want to become affiliated at some point, and you like what we're bringing to the school garden world, so that you can learn more about slow food.
Great. Okay, we have a question from Lori from Chico. Thanks for joining us, Lori, in California. Lori's asking, is there a restriction to how many fundraising resources you can use in a year? For instance, can you have more than one in-store fundraiser, or have an in-store fundraiser and a food donation in a year?
Jamie, you want to take this on first?
Absolutely. So across the board, we like to only do one fundraiser per group per year. That's a school garden or an elementary school or whatever other group we're supporting. What we really just like to do is encourage you to, drive as many people to that one night as possible to get the biggest bang for your buck, if you will. As Andy mentioned, these kind of are a big thing to put on, so we want to make sure that they're as successful as possible and that we're not just doing little ones all throughout the year. So with fundraisers, one per year is the guide. That being said, it can absolutely be in partnership with all of these other resources that we have, like donations, and of course the currency and the different grow kits and grow books. That's a great opportunity when you're filling out the application to kind of lay out what your entire program will look like and how Chipotle can kind of help over the entire year and really support the program on a higher level. We'd love to do that.
And the only thing I'm going to add to that is I've recently seen a couple applications that have scheduled a fundraiser and a burrito donation all on the same weekend. And I've gone back to those people and said, I think it's best if we separate the fundraiser and the food donation by some time, because in effect you're feeding people Chipotle twice in that week, and while I think that's great, it may decrease the amount of participants in your fundraiser. So if and usually the food donations around a big event like a garden cleanup day or Earth Day, or I'm getting a lot of Earth Day applications right now. So I would recommend that the fundraiser kind of be done somewhat in isolation from other events so that you can maximize the number of participants coming from the school and make the most money that you can for the fundraiser, and tie the food donation and the gift cards and the books and the kits to your Earth Day event or your cleanup day or whatever you're scheduling around the school garden. I think you're going to have a better model of success if you do that.
I 100% agree with that, Andy. People aren't going to come pay for Chipotle if they know they're getting it for free the next day. And just to add on to that, if you give out coupons at a different event and then people end up bringing the coupons in to the fundraiser, just know that it's a percentage of total sales. So, if someone uses a buy one, get one free coupon, then only the money that they actually spent there would you be getting half of that. It wouldn't be like half of the total check. So just keep that in mind too. Fundraisers, I think, are a great thing to do 2 months before your big event, and then, at your event is when you're actually using the funds that you raised and you're giving out the burritos and really kind of tying it all together.
Yeah, that is a good point. Save the gift cards to after the fundraiser, when you've already captured everybody's monies. Great. What's next, Lauren?
Okay, we have a question from Maureen. If you work with multiple schools, can you submit for multiple schools on one application?
Maureen, we're asking that each application is only dealing with one school. That helps us track the schools that are involved and keep all the. Usually, each school has their own contact person, and we want to make sure we have the right contact person for each school, because a lot of the communications back from Chipotle goes through that contact person listed on the application. So if your group likes Slow Food Denver that supports many schools, certainly each of those schools can participate in these resources. We ask that one application per school be filled out, though.
Okay, and then we have a question from Kathy. What if there is not a Chipotle in the town the school is located? There's a Chipotle in a nearby town.
Yeah.
I can take this one, Andy.
Go ahead, and I'll add a few notes probably at the end of it. Go ahead.
Okay. It's kind of up to you. If your people are willing to go to the nearby town to go to Chipotle for a fundraiser, then by all means, we can set it up. Same thing with a burrito donation. If someone can get to that Chipotle and pick up the food, then we are by all means, willing to participate. If it's, over an hour away, then it might not make the most sense.
Yeah, I think it works well with food donations, with the burrito donations, that you could, travel a little bit further to go pick it up and bring it back to your school. For the fundraisers, just look at your own life. I don't know how many people are going to travel more than 5 or 10 miles to go out to dinner on a given night. So you don't want to push people to go too far, because that would just decrease your number of participants, which decreases the fundraiser overall. So really judge that for yourself. I'm not, as I process these applications, I'm really not doing any check to see how far the designated Chipotle restaurant is from your school. I'm leaving that up to you guys, but use some good sense on how far you expect people to travel to support your fundraiser.
Okay,
right.
So at this point, I wanted to open up the floor to Sally, who was our intern, who was helping out liaising with Chipotle and processing a lot of these resource requests, to talk just a little bit about the guide she put together to help folks put on the best fundraiser, and some of the things she saw as sort of best practices. Sally, are you on?
Hi. Yeah, can you guys hear me? Hopefully, yes.
We can hear Sally's in
Yes,
Sally. We can hear Sally from across the Atlantic.
Thank you, Lauren. So yeah, we heard some wonderful things about how the fundraiser goes on, and I would just like to let those of you listening know As Lauren mentioned, there are ways of how to use the how to broadcast the fundraisers on social media. We've helped you along kind of by generating some copy for Twitter or Facebook or for emails. And there's also a sort of week-by-week guide as to what you can be doing each week to let people know that this fundraiser is coming up to get as much participation as possible. And that was all put together with the help of some phenomenal sort of not trendsetters, that's not the word I want, but some people that have had great fundraisers in the past. So we tapped those resources to see kind of what they had done to raise upwards of $1,000, because we have had a few gardens that have been able to do that, which is really wonderful. And that was with, of course, some really great advertising. So that is definitely something to think about, that this advertising can't be really done in just a week. It should be something that's building and building, and whether you're sending out information to parents or to a teacher network, or we had people that were also handing out flyers about their event at town hall, in their local library the day before and the day of the event, and those were things that some schools found to have a lot of success. So just thinking about that as well, and also thinking about kind of where that money is going to go. So when you're telling people about this fundraiser, trying to get them excited as well about how those funds can be used, and trying to help them visualize how their contribution by coming to the Chipotle fundraiser is actually going to benefit their school, whether that is creating a shaded area for students to sit in and for teachers to teach in, or helping bring in new raised beds for your garden. That's a really excellent way also just to help people visualize that.
Thank you, Sally. That's really helpful. If you don't mind, I'm going to put you back on mute here. Thanks. So we had another question.
One final wrap up on what Sally's describing. Once you've been approved for a fundraiser, Slow Food will share that document with you that Sally's generated with all these helpful tips and the copy for the social media and the calendar. We will share that with you so that you have that plenty of time to really support your fundraiser. Because I don't think we have it on the website at this point. No, we'll share it with you through an email.
We had another question come in from Denise. Can a nonprofit that manages a learning garden apply for an in-store fundraiser? We work with multiple schools and youth organizations.
So, if I'm understanding the question right, Denise, your nonprofit has a garden itself, and kids come to visit your garden for school garden lessons and healthy eating and all that. Jamie, let's work together on this answer. The answer I usually give out, Denise, is that these fundraisers are really designed well for schools, because you've got 200, 300 families within the school setting and friends of those families, and so you can generate a lot of interest to come and support a fundraiser that supports the school specifically. If you feel that your organization, because of its relationship with multiple schools, can draw out of those families through a lot of advertising in those schools to the fundraiser, I think it could be an effective fundraiser. But the big question is, do you have the marketing capabilities to get families from those schools to show up to support the fundraiser? Is that a fair way to state that, Jamie?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And in the same breath, are the schools close to each other, or are they spread out all over, a metro area? Because, we only host a Chipotle or a fundraiser at one Chipotle location. It's not at every Chipotle location in your town. So again, just like we were talking about with the other example, if it's in a neighboring community, how likely are people going to be to drive to that Chipotle? So these are all kind of like, you need to really think about your situation and then decide whether or not it's a good fit.
Right, and you're welcome.
But as far as, supporting a learning garden is definitely something that Chipotle would support for sure.
Right. Denise, you're welcome to email me separately, and we can talk more about your situation and whether or not that's a good fit for a fundraiser. we really want to maximize the opportunity, and so the key to the fundraisers is the promotion of the event. And if you think you've got the access to those families through those multiple schools, it could be a very beneficial fundraiser if a lot of those families turn out.
Okay, so I think for the last part of this, I would also just like to open up the floor to a school garden leader and chef at a school who has very successfully used some of these resources, just to tell you really briefly a bit about his experience in outside Seattle. Ron, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, Ron.
Hi. I sent a chat message. We've used the grow books with great success. The students love them, and the grow kits last spring were also a big hit, and as well as some of the Chipotle, what they call the currency now, that were gift certificates that we gave out. It was all just really very successful within our middle school.
Thanks, Ron. How did you use the currency and the grow books and the grow kits?
Well, we took them out to the garden when we planted last spring, and we're able to kind of add that to the part of the process of introducing Chipotle, which everybody loved because we have a lot of them in our area. We're in Bellevue, and we have many Chipotles across Seattle and Bellevue. But so everybody kind of screamed when they said, "Oh, it's Chipotle," and so that was very successful to see that we were partnering with Chipotle, and that the team work of both Slow Food and Chipotle and Forest Ridge, where I'm at, was really was nice to see the connection of those resources to really make a huge difference in our school that is a very private school, but students of grades 5 through 12 that are making amazing differences in our community.
Thank you, Ron. That's really helpful perspective. If you don't mind, I'm going to put you back on mute here. Thank you. We had one more question come in. Marie is asking about how does one sign up to join the Slow Food School Garden email list? So I will just show you the link to how to do that. If you go back to our home page, so gardens.slowfoodusa.org, right on the side panel here, under What's New, there's a link that says sign up here for updates. And then it will bring you here, and then you just fill in your name and email, and if you know your local Slow Food chapter, and that will get you signed up for our emails, which are pretty few. I would say no more than 2 or 3 a month. So it's a great way to stay connected with what we're doing, and we'd be thrilled to have more of you join that. So I think we have come up on the hour here. If anyone has any last minute questions, feel free to type them in the chat function. If not, just want to take this time to thank Jamie from Chipotle, to thank Andy, Sally, Ron, all the different folks that have contributed to today's webinar. And feel free to reach out to us. Our emails are here if you have any questions. So thank you, Jamie, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you for
Thanks,
having
Jamie.
me, and thanks everyone for the great questions. We look forward to supporting many of your gardens this year.
And we look forward to seeing you, Jamie, in April in Phoenix for the
Absolutely.
Cultivate Festival.
It's going to be hot for you. All right. Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.